Hello, good morning, man, man, man. When you get to a space and you ask God about something, and then just like the very next morning, He goes, "Cool, go. You got to go." It's pretty much what happened. I hope you're ready for me. Probably going to be a long one again this morning. We'll see. Let's see how quickly I can get through this. But I feel this is very important. Some time ago, I spoke about the desired outcome about whatever it is that we're trying to do or achieve or chase. And if we don't get the outcome that we want or that we need, we have a tendency to see it as failure, by which I mentioned that what I see with what we call successful people is that they only see it as an outcome. They don't see it as a failure. It's just not, it is still an outcome. So it's still success. It's just not the outcome that I'm looking for. So now I need to try a different approach to get a different outcome and different approach all the way along until I find the outcome that I need. So failing is then only when you actually stop trying. That's the only time you can fail. So I'm mentioning this because I found myself in a space where I asked God about the how. So a little bit of context over here is that I'm in a big space where I'm wanting to learn how to act and react and speak and things better when certain emotions hit me in the moment, sort of things. When you get in the moment, where some of the things in our lives have started becoming an automatic response, which is the good response, the one we want, the imitating Christ response. But there are still spaces where that doesn't occur yet. That's what I'm talking about over there, where I'm looking for the in the moment automaticness that I don't need to try and because when your mind is on a reaction, which it shouldn't do, because the Bible also says, be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to become angry. So the Bible does tell us to take a second before you respond. But there is a way to speed this process up, I believe, and that's practice makes perfect. Anyway, so yesterday I had this long drive for work, some 500 plus kilometers, to go do a thing. Nothing wrong with it, nothing wrong, but it does take it out of you a little bit when you do take a drive like that. You get tired mentally, physically, because you've got to pay attention on the road. The particular road has got plenty of trucks. Like, I don't even know. I can't. You can't count that many on the road. It's really a busy road, a transport road for a lot of stuff. So trucks are plentiful. So you've got to pay attention. So by the time you get back from a trip like that, you do it in a day quickly. You pop out quick this morning, you get back, and when you get back, I was told, listen, this device needs to be quickly installed. It was urgent, and I'm cool. Like, I'll pop in there, no problem. Get in there, finding that the device is not up to standard, even though we knew this device had been checked and ready to go in for an install, not at this client, but due to a little bit of a thing that probably happened with delivery of the client's actual um, hardware. We try to make a plan over here. But after this device had been checked, something happened over here. It had one component missing and another component then been swapped out with one that needs to be thrown away, sort of thing. So, and I've got this big thing about, I have a certain standard that I operate at when I do my work, and when stuff like this happens, which was out of my control, you expect people to do quality control and that sort of thing, and this didn't happen because now it's a rush again, and things have been a bit, what I want to call, chaotic at the office for the last quite some time, and it's been building up, and when you think it looks like it might take a turn, then it just comes more. So it's been harsh. So when people do make an error, it feels so much worse, but it's because you're already under this tremendous amount of pressure. So now you get annoyed that the quality control wasn't done properly. That, yes, but this thing was checked, and then this sort of thing happened. And I mean, like, for me, I can vouch for the guy that checked this device, for argument's sake. I can, and he's got proof. So now I'm getting there, and now because of this, I look incompetent. I look unprofessional. The company looks unprofessional because this is what happens over here. Thank the Lord, it wasn't a big client. It's something smaller, but if you see a small client as less than a large client, then you in yourself need to go work on some stuff, but they do react differently because a smaller client doesn't walk around with that high and mightiness that larger clients normally do, like CEOs and big managers and stuff. There's often, not all of them, but some of them have this way that they seem to think they're better than everybody, so you better be on par. And if you don't, everything breaks loose, all hell breaks loose, sort of stuff. Anyway, so this happens, and man, I get done there at this client. I walk away there, and I was so angry because of this. I started shaking. I got to the office, quickly chat to the one lady over there. She completely understands. We're on the same level, but she saw for the moment I walked in, she's like, "No, this dude is angry." And at some point, she's like, "Dude, just go, drop it on her, go home, just get out of here. Just, I understand. Go, blow off some steam." And I got so angry because of this, but I also ended up acting and reacting and speaking in a way that I don't want to anymore. That isn't becoming of me. That isn't the way of a guy that's trying to imitate Jesus. And that's what I'm talking about with in the moment. That's what I'm referring to with in the moment. I don't want to be like that on those moments because I know they do happen still in life. But I don't want to act that way. How do I handle that better? How do I get better in that place there? And because of this, in my conversation on the way home yesterday with the Lord, I go, Lord, like, I don't get it. What's going on? Why is this? Why do I act this way when this happens when I know I don't want to? And what's the first thing that comes to mind? Man, the Lord slaps me a little bit with Romans over here. Paul writing in Romans 7, and this is the exact part from verse 15. He says, For what I am doing, I do not understand. For what I will to do, that I do not practice. But what I hate, that I do. If then I do what I will not to do, I agree with the law that it is good. But now it is no longer I who do it, but sin that dwells in me. For I know that in me, that is, in my flesh, nothing good dwells. For to will is present with me, but how to perform what is good, that I do not find, which is exactly my question this morning. For the good that I will to do, I do not do, but the evil that I will not to do, that I practice. Now, now, if I do what I will not to do, so if I do what I don't want to do, it is no longer I who do it, but the sin that dwells in me. So we need to get that sin out then. So this is the how. So we know now what we need to do is that a certain type of sin that is dwelling within us is what I'm understanding that Paul's writing here is, and we need to find out not only what it is that's there, but also why it is there. And we need to do what the Bible also teaches us is we need to take it captive and put it under the authority of Jesus to let it know it is not welcome here. So this is the first part of what comes my way. So now I'm sitting here last night and I'm thinking, Lord, I need to get better at this in the moment reactions and actions of myself. I need to get better at that, Lord. That is the stuff that I want to get right in every aspect of my life because I offer you my everything as a living sacrifice. Like Paul also again writes in Romans 12:1, he says, I beseech you, brethren, give yourself a living sacrifice. But that includes those moments, that includes those times, that includes the times where because of this anger and hurt and whatever that I've suffered, I'm walking around here in my house and I'm having conversations that aren't even there. I'm speaking these things that are coming out over here, but things that shouldn't be coming out. And I'm sitting here last night going, Lord, but I don't want this stuff. I don't need these things. It's truly ridiculous. So what do? We fix ourselves, we fix our hearts, and we pray for those that need to be fixed. We only step in when God shows us if we should step in or say something to somebody. Because if you do it with the wrong heart and under the wrong emotion, you're going to break yourself. You're gonna probably embarrass yourself because you're not going to be thinking straight. So you can't do it under that level of emotion. That's why the Bible says, be slow to speak and slow to get angry. So now I'm sitting here and now I'm asking the Lord this, like, how do I get better? How do I find this how, Lord? And this is what God does this morning. And I'm like, how do I find this? How do I find this? So God comes in this morning and he goes, so tell them how to find this, John. That's what God, like, as I'm busy this morning walking with the Lord and I've got this on my mind and I'm like, okay, Lord, how do I find this how? How do I find this how? He's like, there's something nice for you to talk about. Share that with them. Talk to them about that liquor. Let's go. So now I'm like, but I don't know the how yet, Lord. And then in a moment I go, well, considering that's what you're saying to me and what I feel you're saying to me, and this is what we're going to be talking about, then perhaps in fact I do know, because I most certainly have the means to get it. And I've said this many a times, all the answers we need is in the Word of God. So now I'm like, okay, let's see, Lord. Let's see what I can do. Let's see what I can do with the what feels like very little information that I think I have, which apparently I don't, because that handbook is very handy, I tell you. Wow. Do you think that's why it's called a handbook? Because it's handy to have. Or you carry it in your hand. Probably because you carry it in your hand and not because it's handy. So a few scriptures that popped up while I'm checking through things and looking for stuff this morning. Some I know, some we all know. Well, we all know probably all of them, but some come around more often than the other. And it starts and surprise, surprise, most of these ones that popped out is our very wise King Solomon over again here, coming from Proverbs. The very first one, Proverbs chapter 1 and verse 5, it says, a wise man will hear and increase learning, and a man of understanding will attain wise counsel. So you will get, you know, yeah. James chapter 1 and verse 5, 2:15, so I like that. James chapter 1 verse 5 says, if any of you lack wisdom, let him ask of God, who gives to all liberally and without reproach, and it will be given to him. Proverbs 2 and verse 6, for the Lord gives wisdom, from his mouth comes knowledge and understanding. Proverbs 3 verse 5 and 6, trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct your paths. Philippians 4:13, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. You recognize any of these? I'm sure you do. Colossians 3. Oh man, also one that came into my life on a good way this year, and one that I oh man. Anyway, Colossians 3 verse 23 and 24. And whatever you do, do it heartily, as to the Lord and not to men, knowing that from the Lord you will receive the reward of the inheritance, for you serve the Lord Christ. Proverbs 22 verse 29. Do you see a man who excels in his work? He will stand before kings. He will not stand before unknown men. So, but first, Colossians 3, probably the most powerful one again for me in this list of verses that we got here. One that I think, if I can get that into my automatic mind, that just kicks in, that I don't even need to think of anymore. And it goes by repetition. Practice makes perfect. If I can get this to do it as to the Lord and not to mere men, I will automatically, if that kicks in the moment, then I think automatically I will change the way I talk, change the way I respond, change the way I act, change the way I speak. I think that's what will happen. So I thought, let me see if I can sum it up this morning. Just these 7 verses. Is it 7? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Funny, hey, 7 points. 7 verses, I got 7 points. Lekker, that's pretty cool. God's perfect number, yeah? Lekker. Working in sevens. God doing a thing this morning. So I got him summed up. Number 1, be teachable. Be teachable. It doesn't matter who it is or how the teaching comes. Whether it is somebody trying to insult you, somebody criticizing you, somebody telling you off about something that you did, when somebody's praising you for a job well done and some good stuff. Anyone, from good and bad, be teachable. Always look for what you can learn from what they are saying, because even if they're insulting you, there's something, if they could have learned to word it better, it probably wouldn't have been an insult and it would have been a much better lesson. Maybe you can try it this way and this would work better for you. Try and find that. Doesn't matter how they say it. And don't worry, I'm talking to this guy over here saying these kind of things, because we so easily get defensive in when things happen, So the benefit of that can add as an added bonus, if you look at things like that. So you smile when this person's insulting you because you're finding the teachable moment in that. You probably end up upsetting them anyway, which is not your intent, but a little added bonus sort of thing. I don't know, maybe. Number 2, ask God for wisdom. And ask God what the how is, in other words. So asking for the wisdom for the how. Number 3, listen. For wisdom comes from the mouth of God. It comes out of his mouth. Number 4, trust God in everything and nothing and nobody else. Trust in the Lord with all your heart. Not saying you can't trust people, but to find the how. Just the point of it. Number 5, believe in yourself. You can do all things through Christ who strengthens you. Believe in yourself. Know that you can already do it. And know that you can already do it correctly. Number 6, do everything as if you're doing it for the Lord. And last but most certainly not least, apply your skills to the best of your ability. Do you see a man who excels in his work? He will be standing before kings and not unknown men. Apply your skills to the best of your ability, wherever you are, whenever you are. Turn to Jesus. You can't see beyond where you are looking, but the best way, here we go, the best way I keep finding of getting things right, the how to get things right, the how to do things right, is actually to look at God always. Not only for Him, but to look at Him. Find God in any and every situation. Turn your eyes upon Jesus. Look full in His wonderful face. Man, I want to be a singing preacher. Turn your eyes upon Jesus. You know the song? This is what that came up with. Yeah. Look full in His wonderful face, and the things of the earth will grow strangely dim in the light of His glory and grace. I love these words. When you turn to Jesus, as I said just now, you can't see beyond where you are looking. We can never do that. We can only see as far as we are looking. And if you apply these few points that I'm learning this morning and that I've learned this morning, and you look completely and fully to Jesus, you'll start doing things the correct way. You'll start getting better in the moment. So I'm going to try my best to start doing this from right now. And I want to encourage you to do exactly the same. And it doesn't matter what it is that you're facing, how tough your battle might look, how tough your battle is to you, how challenging things are, how crazy, chaotic, depressing everything might seem. Just try it. Just try it. Because if it's still bad after a long time, whatever you've been doing obviously isn't working. Sorry to be so direct. It obviously isn't working. And these sort of things could be the whys actually behind it. And in that, I feel that you might need a reminder again this morning that God was and is and always will be in control. He knows what He's doing, and He knows where you are. He sees you, Elroy, the God who sees you. Sometimes He has to sit back and watch to see if we can figure it out by ourselves. Sometimes He has to sit back, or He doesn't have to, but I think the same as any teacher. If we look at teachers on earth, sometimes they teach us stuff and they see the moment, they have a moment where they get to see their student go through this certain thing that they just learned, and the teacher doesn't yell out from the side and go, hey, this is that moment. They stand and they watch to see if you're going to apply what you've learned, if you've actually got what you learned. And I feel God has to do the same over here. He doesn't have to, but I feel He kind of has to, because how else are we going to learn if we've been spoon-fed all the time? You know what I mean? So I feel sometimes God hangs on for a second just to see if we did in fact learn what we just learned. If we're going to apply now this thing that we just learned. If we can find the knowledge that we gained to then apply it in the situation that we're facing. And man, what a good feeling it is when we do get it right. I've gotten a thing right once or twice. I'm sure you've gotten things right many a times. How good does it feel when you do get it right? But if you get given it, it doesn't mean the same as when you figure it out and get it right almost by yourself. Man, that's the growth out right there. That's the growth I'm after. That's like the first moment that comes and I react in the godly way that I'm trying to get to. Man, you have no idea how I'm going to be high-fiving myself when I get to my car. You're like, yeah, come on, boy, let's go. And I hope you get these moments yourself. So let me actually say and sit and hope that God brings this topic around again in a little while from now to revisit it and see if I've managed to succeed in anything, and to see if you've managed to succeed in anything, getting it a little bit right in those moments. It'll be lekker to see the growth and what we have gotten better at. I'm thinking of a certain thing, but God might increase other things, or that plus other things, or just that. It doesn't matter, just to see if we got better. And then I want to leave you one last time with the Colossians 3, verse 23, where it says, "And whatever you do, do it heartily, as if to the Lord and not just to men." And believe you can do it, my friend. You got this.